continue to attack his body, but his spirit has discovered the path to wholeness. Though he is going blind, Kashi sees clearly that the nuclear threat is, at its core, a spiritual problem. And if the nuclear threat is a spiritual problem, writes Hendler Voss, then the good news for people of faith is that it requires a spiritual remedy, which is what we're supposed to be offering. So how do we build cultures of peace in our homes and houses of worship, she asked. How do we resist a national narrative that stifles moral outrage? Perhaps we begin by asking good questions like, how do we communicate about conflict? Are we developing the practice of deep listening? When do we carve out time for reflection and meditation? How do we confess, forgive, reconcile? As a Christian educator, she says, my highest hope for our children is that through their spiritual formation, they will lead rich lives of shalom. The richness of shalom, or biblical peace, moves well beyond a war is not the answer placard. It invokes God's healing of the violence in our hearts, communities, and world. And if shalom is the palpable presence of healing, wholeness, and harmony in our lives, it also cries out that war must be actively prevented, not passively avoided. A theology of shalom is ultimately practical. It can't be nurtured privately without affecting how we engage in public life. So the first step toward peace of any kind, toward healing of any kind, is to be willing to see and confront the injustice, suffering, and violence of our world and the ways that we participate in it, personally or systemically. And we can only do this, I think, through an awareness of God's deep love for us and for all living things, the same awareness that empowered Jesus. Otherwise, this task would be too much for us, but like Jesus, we have been baptized in the mighty river of that love. So we too can dare to lift our eyes to see the suffering within us and around us, to be present to it, to unmask it, to speak to it, and finally, by God's grace and Christ's Spirit, perhaps to lay healing hands upon it. This is what gives us hope and courage in the face of all that is wrong in our world today. And because we live just down the road from Oak Ridge, the secret city where key components of the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima were created, I think we have a special responsibility when it comes to nuclear weapons. Even as we gather here this Sunday morning, plans are underway to invest billions, even trillions of dollars to upgrade and expand the capability of the nuclear weapons facilities in Oak Ridge. And the purpose, according to the Bechtel Corporation, is to support the nation's nuclear weapons stockpile. Instead of scaling down our dependence on weapons of mass destruction, we are ground zero for our nation's efforts to enhance them and maintain our dependence upon them into the distant future. I have no doubt that this massive building project will be an economic boon to our region. I have no doubt that in some, I guess I would say, insane corner of the universe, rational, intelligent people can articulate reasons why nuclear weapons continue to be pursued as a security strategy in our world. But I also have no doubt that my faith, Christian faith, calls me to offer a different perspective, to cry out for a different strategy, and to work for a different outcome. And just so you know, over the next 3 Sundays in August, our adult discussion group, which meets next door at 9:30 in the morning, will be learning more about these issues, the cost of nuclear weapons in our society, the cost of this project and the plans for this project, the uranium processing facility in Oak Ridge. And we'll be also talking about different ways for us to respond as people of faith, from prayer to protest and letter writing to a federal lawsuit that the Oak Ridge Environmental Peace Alliance is bringing right now. And AREPA has been working on this issue for many years, and we've had many of our members very involved in that. Marcia Free and Eddie Kelly are currently on the board of AREPA, so they have a lot of insight into this issue. Kevin was also there for many years, and many others of you as well. So if you want to check out their resources online, you can. But Please, if you want to join others in reflecting on these issues, consider joining us on Sunday mornings at 9:30 over the month of August. It is so important, wrote Jonathan Ranoff, that all religious leaders, and I would say all religious communities, give people the spiritual, psychic capacity to deal with this issue. I believe the only way, he said, to overcome such an evil is through a committed engagement based on love. This love must be founded on a deep sense of reverence for the miracle of life and respect for personal moral duties.